Kenny, what do you take away from this?
I just told the guys it's tough to win in the NBA when you lose the possession game by 10. And when I mean the possession game, I mean rebounding. Kind of dominated on both ends, which is their strength. Then we turned it over, So even that second quarter, they shot the crap out of the ball, but I think we had 5 turnovers. Now they're getting the easy ones off our turnover. So I got to look at the spacing, how we can, it's easy to say, well, guys are turning over. It usually comes down to the spacing's not perfect, probably imperfect. That's 2 games in a row where we've turned the ball over, right? Definitely some spacing issues out there.
I know you talked a little bit before the game about some of the bench lineups. What went wrong for the lineup that started the second and the fourth?
Yeah. We got to look at it. Obviously, it wasn't the right combination, and got to look at, we just got to look at it, Dan. Obviously, the bench play hurt us tonight.
Kenny, you talked about the offense hurting your guys' defense. How do you guys get that to change?
I think what I said to Dan, I think it's starts with lineups. And the second thing is spacing. Spacing's got to be better. And their physicality hurt us, right? They got their hands on, they're handsy. I felt like we had a tough time getting an advantage tonight. And credit to them, they guard the heck out of the ball. They're physical as heck in pick and roll. And I feel like we weren't getting that thrust. They stood us up a lot. And when we're not getting those paint touches, makes it hard on your offense. They're not sucking in. We're not getting the kickouts. So. But give their defense credit. I think they're number 1 in the league in defense right now, or close to it. And we couldn't really get anything going.
You guys have found success this season when you guys get out into transition.
Yeah.
That wasn't an opportunity that was theirs for you guys. How do you get back into that?
Yeah, again, it starts with rebounding, right? Transition starts with rebounding, getting a stop and getting a rebound, and like I said, it's part of the possession game. We knew that was the number 1 key coming into this game. Can we, beat them in the possession game? And plus 10, that's a big disparity. Tough to win in this league, especially with a really good team. If they're getting that many more possessions than us.
I know it wasn't their best offensive showing, but the job that Naquan and JT did on Cunningham tonight, what did you think about the way that they kind of...
Yeah, it's nice to have size. We got size on those guys. Those guys compete their tails off. And I thought Naquan had some nice blocks. And, his length and size really helps us. And then offensively, we got to find a way to help those guys, offensively with our spacing, because it was definitely clunky offensively with that group out there.
And speaking of spacing, Sam had a good showing tonight as far as from beyond the arc. Just looked like he was back in his usual role, yeah?
Really good. He had a minutes thing, so, definitely would have played him more, but I wanted to respect that, keep him healthy over the long haul. But we can't play him 48, right? Like, I wish I could, but we can't. Like I said, he's got some things going on, and we tried to respect, give him the appropriate minutes tonight.
Jeff? The second quarter was an issue here today. It's been an issue for most of the season.
Yeah.
You guys have the second worst net rating in the second quarter. What has led to that consistently being a problem?
Oh, like I said, it was something we got to look at. We'll look at the combinations. Maybe we keep 2 of our stars out there at the same time. We got to help them. We started Sam tonight, and that obviously hurts the bench. So we just got to figure it out, because just not. Like you said, it's definitely hurting us those minutes.
This is a good Pistons team, first in the conference.
Yeah.
It's easy to look at this as a measuring stick game. How close are you to being your team being to that level?
Oh, I didn't. It didn't. You know, I know we competed to the end and we came, but it didn't. It didn't feel like we were right there the whole game. Like I felt like they deserved this game. They had the advantage most of the game. I thought we made a hell of a run at the end, and we got a super competitive group, and you know, that I take the positive. But as far as kind of who outplayed who, it was definitely them. They were the better team tonight. And again, I just go back to, like, you can't lose the possession, but you can't just -10 is it's too big. The margin error for us is you know, small, and that's just, you know, not good enough on our part.
Last one.
Evan Mobley only had 4 points on 4 shot attempts in the second half. What
Yeah.
causes him to sometimes drift away a little bit in the second?
Yeah, I mean, I always put it on myself. Can we do more? Can we do better? They were, you know, they give them a lot of credit. That's part of their focus. They stand you up in the paint really well. It's tough to pierce their paint, and that was part of the issue. So then I got to find a way to get them involved more. Got to get more touches. We've been preaching to our guys. You know, our bigs got to touch it more. Quite honestly, that's just been a theme lately. Not enough tonight, so we got to keep hammering our guards, get those guys the ball more. But he definitely didn't get enough touches tonight.
And then on the other end of the floor, he had 4 blocks.
Yeah.
Mobley has 15 blocks over his last 4 games.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him since he's returned from injury?
You know, and that's part of my frustration, right? Is he's doing it on the defensive end. We got to reward him, and JA too. Both those guys, we got to reward them more. We're doing it inconsistently right now. Those guys got to get the ball at the rim more. But like I said, they did a great job walling up the paint. I felt like our guards, you know, had a tough time getting in there, and pick and roll. They were blitzing us, and we didn't do a good enough job getting it into the pocket to our big guys.